Hi everybody, just giving you a quick intro to the course. I want to show you how to get around the D2L class. I can give you a chance to take a look at my face. Speaking of which, I've got to admit I'm about half an hour away from my beginning of the semester haircut and trim, so I'm a little bit shaggy. I've got a moment of peace here. I'm at my in-laws still. We've gotten delayed in Toronto over the vacation a little bit, so my son's got a play date with a cousin, and my wife is out with her parents running some errands, and so I've actually got some quiet to do some taping. So I'm doing this now while the opportunity strikes. And I also have to apologize for some weird reason. Camtasia is recording my image within an image, and you'll see that in the corner of the video, and that is not my ego at work. It's not because I like to see myself so much I wanted two of me. I just haven't been able to figure out in the limited time I've got how to turn that off. So those are my two my apologies with which I'll begin the course. And so there you go. What I want to do is quickly walk you through the course site to get you familiar with it. It's fairly easy to maneuver around D2L, and I designed the course so that you can get to almost everything through a single section of the class, online classroom. But people sometimes do get lost as they click around, so I want to walk you through it a little bit. Now, this first page you see when you log into the course is the announcement page, and you will see regular updates here. I would say once a month, not once a month, sorry, once a week at least you'll have a new announcement here. I will sometimes post announcements midweek as well, so it's important you be checking into the course regularly. One thing you cannot do in my online courses is check in just on the weekends. You will always have a midweek discussion board post due, and then a few follow-ups. And throughout the course I may have other activities I'll have you do, maybe group work or something like that, which may require more frequent visits. So if you're not able to check in maybe every other day or so, you might reconsider taking the course. One other thing I'll say about the course before we get going. This is a literature course, and there's a lot of reading. You can look at the syllabus and get an idea of what we're going to be reading throughout the course right away. You'll be on two tracks. We'll be focusing on novels, which we'll all be reading the same novels, and I've got a list of those in the syllabus. And then we'll also be looking at picture book authors. Now, the picture book authors, you will have some choice. You can go and find any book by these authors that you'd like, and you'll share your thoughts on those books. But we'll be reading those same authors, so you want to keep on top of the reading. We'll also be reading from the Read Aloud Handbook by Jim Trelease, which talks about the benefits of reading out loud to children. And I choose that partially because the children's lit textbooks out there are extremely expensive. I've yet to find one that's really affordable. But also because I want this course to have as broad application as possible. If you're taking this just to round out, your humanities credits or something like that, I feel if you're not going to be using this in your professional life, you will someday be using it in your personal life, if not right away. And I think that an awareness of the importance of reading to children, I think enhancing that and learning how to do that effectively will be a really useful addition to the course. As we discuss literature itself, we'll look at various tools of literary analysis as well. The first work we're reading is The Hobbit, and I'm recommending you get a jump on that. This first week you don't have to read it. The second week is when we'll do our first discussion board post on about half of the book, and then the third week we'll finish it. Tolkien was writing in the early part of the 20th century, though, and so his language is a little bit different from what you might see in contemporary children's books. But take your time with it. Tolkien's important, and I'll talk more about why he's important next week, and this is why I include this book. So at any rate, you may want to get started on that this week once you've read the intro to Jim Trelease and done your first discussion board post. So all of that said, let me walk you quickly through the course, and then I'll let you get to work. Okay, this is the announcement page. I talked about that already before my long digression. Here is the place you want to go for 99.9% of what you're going to need in this course, and that's the content area. If you click on content, you're going to see that it very slowly, my connection here is a little bit sluggish, my apologies, will take you over to, very, very slowly, will take you over, there we go, to an outline of the course. Right now, you've got course resources, which has a syllabus, and I'll add additional resources to that, literary resources primarily, as we get rolling. And then each week will have its own module. Right now we've got the first week's module here. I will typically open each week's module Thursday, Friday. The very latest would be Saturday, so that you can get going on Sunday on the next week's work. But typically I get it done earlier in the week. This is my first time teaching this course in D2L. I've taught it in Educator and face-to-face in the past, so you know, it will take me a little bit longer sometimes to develop the materials for you, but I hope to have that up early in the week. What you'll see about this outline is that you can access everything you need pretty much from here. So the week 1 checklist will take you to this checklist, which is a list of what's due this week and the due dates for every activity. As you finish each, you can actually use these boxes to check them off to kind of help you keep track of what you've done. This week we've also got a video, and most weeks I'll try to include a video with an expert, hopefully one of our authors for that week, talking. I may not be able to find relevant videos for every week's activities, but I'll do my best. Or I may post a video, a lecture, for example, on the awarenesses with which we read children's literature, which we'll get into in just a bit. There may be a video of me. I'm sure you'd rather listen to an author than me, but there you go. And then you can also get to the discussion boards from within the content area. So you click on week 1 discussion. Here are the directions for our first discussion. You can click compose and post away. I will tell you if you need to come up to this nav bar for something else, but what happens when people just start clicking on the nav bar is they sometimes miss some of the stuff we're doing for that week back in the content. They may not click on everything they need to. Now, one thing you will need to click on the discussions for is to come up to this help forum. The help forum is where I'd like you to post any questions you've got about anything going on in the course. The only thing I would say is if you've got a question about your own specific grade or an assignment that you yourself are working on, like why I gave you knocked off a couple of points on a discussion board post or something like that, it's probably best to email, call, or drop by my office with that. And the reason is your grade and your own work is really confidential. Aside from the peer work that we share together, your grade especially is really between you and me, and so it's better to keep that private. But anything you want to ask about something due on a given week, something you've read in one of the books that you don't quite understand, whatever, post it here. And the reason I prefer you post it here than email me with something like that is that other students who may have the same question can then benefit from my answer. So there you go. That is a quick overview of what the classroom looks like. Start off this week in this content area, read the syllabus very carefully, and then read the Introduction to Jim Trelease, which you'll see on this week 1 checklist. Watch the video and then take part in this first week's discussion. By the end of the week, I'll have the first week's work, or the first week on The Hobbit, which will be week 2, up and running for you as well. Okay. One thing also I want you to keep in mind is this is going to be work. As I said before, it's a lit course, and it's a W-lit course, so you'll be writing quite a bit, mainly in our discussion boards, but I'll have you do some other writing as well. But do try to enjoy it. This is children's literature, and I don't know, it bothers me if people look at it with too cold an eye. I think this is fun stuff, and it is stuff that is written to encourage and awaken a love for reading in children. And to be honest, whenever I read these books that we're reading, I feel that kind of reawakened in myself. So let the literature, let the material we cover wash over you. Enjoy it. As you're working with it, don't lose sight of the fact that this stuff is not written for us to analyze, although that's our job here in a lit course. It's written for people to enjoy, so enjoy it. Okay, so have a good first week, and as I said, I'm here if you've got any questions.